Well, this morning I'm back to square one, basically. I've just done a few small chores that have taken me ages, and now I'm having to sit down and rest to present this to you. And I'm so excited to be able to share with you this podcast. A friend suggested I listen to it, and she's also going through cancer treatment. It's called Radical Remission. Stories that... Sorry. My brain is a bit foggy this morning. Stories that heal. Stories from survivors of various dire prognoses by Helen Henger. This morning's episode was by Helen Henger, PhD Harvard researcher. And it just blew my mind away. It was just so incredibly insightful that I had to basically pop on and share it immediately after doing my chores. And as I said, sitting down because now I have no energy. They're stories of hope and inspiration for anyone living with a life-changing diagnosis. And that was certainly me. And she starts talking, first of all, about mindfulness, mindset. There's a whole range of words for it. And that immediately got my attention because that resonates with me. And the little example, lots of examples, but the example she gave was being out to dinner with her husband who was playing tricks on her, not very nice. And they had a collection of certain meats on the plate. And she knew, even though she hadn't tried one, that she wouldn't like it. And so he pointed out which one it was, and she left it till last to taste it. And in the meantime, she'd actually eaten this piece of meat. And by the time she got to that piece that she thought was it and ate it, she was violently ill, right? So it was her mind that was telling her that she didn't like it and this is what was going to happen. And when she was violently ill, which was a pretty foul trick to play on her, her husband explained that actually she had eaten that piece of meat prior, and that was actually just a piece of chicken. And it got me to thinking, you know, that's the same thing that happens with a placebo. The mind, if you don't know it's a placebo, the mind perceives that it's medicine, a tablet that's going to fix you, and so you focus your attention on being fixed. And how often, myself included, and children taking medicine, you perceive that, oh, this is going to taste revolting, and sure as God made little green apples, it tastes revolting. So, you know, there is so much about this mindfulness, the mind-body connection. And then she went on to talk about she talked about meditation and then just being aware in nature. And again, that resonated with me because just through my own lived experience, just being out in nature in the fresh air, you know, what is now drought country, being in harmony with nature, living with nature, being aware of what's happening in nature, listening to the birds, the wind in the trees, the wind, the breeze on your cheeks. For me, it just fills my soul like the best medicine. And to listen to her talk about the value of that was resonated with me and said, yep, tick that box. That's what I'm doing. And again, she talks about the noticing, being aware, which came through in her meditation part. To be mindful, to be aware of what's happening around you. And I've discovered, well, you know, since this dry, I am being aware. I am being conscious of the pasture, the lack of pasture. And she also talks about flipping things. But I could go around bemoaning the fact that there's not a lot of grass. I've got to hand feed, etc., etc. But each day there's not a cloud in the sky, and I say, well, thank you, God. Thank you, universe. We're a day closer to rain. And it is amazing how much that makes a change in your whole attitude. And the other thing I've picked up too is noticing the changes in my body. And there's a cycle. Yes, here I am back to square one. And after my last chemotherapy treatment, it was quite interesting to learn that the immunotherapy actually was causing problems with my body. And look, what's as you get older, nearly nearing 70, there's age. You can defy age, but you just have to look at nature. The flowers come up, they grow, they blossom, they die. The horses get white, the dogs get white all over them, and their bones, arthritis, all that stuff. It happens. And so you think, well, is this age? Is this chemo? Is this lack of energy? There's a whole range of things. And at immunotherapy and chemo on last Friday, they said, oh, we've got a problem here. The proteins in the urine and your blood pressure is going up, and you have to take a tablet. And whoa, that put me into a spin. Anyway, that's a different story. But becoming aware and noticing things. And so, coming home and my fatigue level, yes, I know how to manage that. There's lots of personal little things like leakage. Yes. Oh man, don't tell we're going down that track. But then I remembered the last treatment, it only happened in the first week, and then, the muscles tighten and everything's good again. Legs are swelling. Whew. Neuropathy, the nerve endings in the fingertips. It's just learning to become aware and noticing, and what can you do about it? What can you do about it? Sometimes you can do some things about it, and sometimes it's just the passage of time. Anyway, I found the podcast Radical Remission absolutely brilliant because it touched on things that Abraham Hicks talks about, not Dr. Dwyer, forgot his name. Oh, goodness gracious me. I'm sure he talks about it too. Lots of people talk about it. But anyway, God bless. Enjoy.